We can see one of the floats starting to get going, anticipating of getting to you in 45 minutes to an hour or so, going up that eighth of a mile up Broadway. But when you got off the train this morning, or you in your car and you got in, and now it's sort of filling up, how deep do you see people, standing around City Hall, and that level of excitement? You just feel it where you are. It's like oozing out.
I was on the train at about 5 in the morning, so I'm not sure how many fans were actually there with me. I didn't see too many flags, but as soon as I came to City Hall, there were people here, as I mentioned, since 1 a.m. in the morning. It's a contagious feeling. You have people just coming up to the fence to take pictures, and for those that weren't able to snag those illustrious and coveted tickets, they feel like they're missing out, and there are going to be a lot of people that are going to be streaming and watching this celebration. It feels more than just a city celebration. It's a countrywide celebration. And remember, there are no sports happening today, so everyone is going to be tuning in to watch the Women's World Cup team celebrate. And for some reason, it feels like their legacy is going to be pushed a lot further. This is the back-to-back champions, and as you and Christine both mentioned, 4-time champions. This is an amazing celebration, and it's going to be contagious all day long. And remember, do not forget, the rest are very wary because they have to head to Los Angeles for the ESPYs right after this. It's been a long 24 hours. They've been on a media tour all day, and it's going to continue all week long for them.
All right, Justin, thanks so much. We'll definitely check back in with you throughout the morning here as we carry live coverage of the parade down in Lower Manhattan. And right now I want to bring Kim back in. And Kim, you saw Ray talking to those little girls along the parade route, and this team has really become a symbol of women's empowerment.
Yes,
and
it has.
They were on Good Morning America, and I saw a young girl ask something about how they're in a male-dominated sport, and they kind of were taken aback. They're like, no, it's female-dominated. And here you are, a coach of a male team at NYU. Mm-hmm. Talk about that. Is this a female-dominated sport now?
Well, it's... we could certainly lay claim to it. Mm-hmm. I would think so. I'm always pulling for the men's team. I think the men's team is getting better. I saw a good performance against Mexico when we played Sunday night. But the women are grabbing a lot of attention, and it's rightly deserved.
Mm-hmm. Kim, in that first float that we saw, a gentleman was holding up a scarf that Orlando Pride, one of the teams in the Women's League. What can a victory like this, a second straight World Cup victory, and what kind of bounce can be picked up off of this so that a team like Orlando does pretty well, right? But you want all the teams in that league to do well attendance-wise, and that way you're even better 4 years, 8 years from now when those players are the young players now who are kids, and maybe they become professional soccer players in the near future.
That's correct. Supporting the Women's Professional League is key. So to all the fans and to all the girls out there, go to a game. We have Sky Blue, that's right here, it's very local. If you're from a different part of the country, try to find where your local teams are playing, and if they're close by, go support them. Buy a replica jersey, buy a scarf. All of these things, all of these purchases will help sustain the Women's Professional League, and that will be key for us to continue to dominate on the world stage.
It's interesting. Our area is not short of great soccer players. And one of the best soccer players in the world, and she's known for scoring, is Crystal Dunn. Mm-hmm. But she took a role on this team where you're asking a scorer to go back and play defense. For Crystal Dunn, Rockville Center native, went to Southside High School, played in Albertson Club in Long Island. But when you look at a woman like Crystal Dunn and what she had to accept to become a defender here, not that she couldn't do it, but the mindset to be like, I'm going to be the best and mark the best players on the other team. What kind of sacrifice was that for her?
I don't know if it was a great sacrifice. She's a great player, and the coaching staff felt that she needed to be on the field. And her best role at this moment was to be the outside back. And you can also look to Brandi Chastain. Brandi Chastain spent her entire college career as a forward, right, as a striker. And she was converted to a right back also. and went on to make history. So congratulations to Crystal. She did a fantastic job. She was really unstoppable. She was really unbeatable. You could see in the games that I witnessed firsthand, Spain, France, and even England, they were playing to her side a lot, thinking that she was vulnerable, but she was not. She was a force.
She was tremendous in that France game.
Tremendous.
And a lockdown position on France's top player.
Top player. Very, very good player.
You were there.
I was there at the match, and I was on her side, so I got to see her play a lot.
And just to cut in quick, there's Mayor Bill de Blasio on one of the floats there, celebrating with the team as they make their way to City Hall. He's going to be handing them the keys to the city when they get there. You can see Megan Rapinoe right there. A bunch of the girls there, right on the team, sitting on that
Julie
float.
Ertz.
Julie Ertz, whose husband is Zach Ertz, who plays for the Philadelphia Eagles, plays tight end, one of the best in the NFL. Talk about a power couple. A great soccer player and a great football player.
Right, Carly Lloyd's on that float. Alyssa Naeher, the goalkeeper. Becky Sauerbrown, one of the center backs, who was really one of the unsung heroes, in my opinion, of this match. Her and the other center back were just outstanding.
Now, speaking of Carly Lloyd, she said she's on that float. She's from New Jersey. This was her fourth World Cup appearance, also having played in Olympics. She didn't get playtime, though, this time around. What do you think about that?
I think that Carly Lloyd came off of the bench and provided a spark when the team needed it. I would say that she was maybe the security blanket, like Abby Wambach was to the team in 2015.
Elder statesman, or stateswoman.
Massive experience.
Right.
Could lend that experience to the younger players, accepted her role, and came in and did a fantastic job.
You know, you mentioned Becky, and you smile.
Yes.
Like we have the camera on Kim right now, so there's no doubt that this coach likes defense. There's no doubt about that. And but Becky came in with a lot of experience. Second time around, when you think about having players like that, their second time around, what kind of difference does that make? And when does the world catch up to the United States again? Because there's clearly, this team is a super team. Golden State Warriors, Barcelona Dream Team. You look at this team, there's no doubt they are a fantastic super team.
Super team. Becky, older, paired with Abby Dahlkamper, first time in the World Cup. Experienced, non-experienced. Both of those players, outstanding. Crystal Dunn, inexperienced in a World Cup, playing out of position, outstanding in the World Cup. Kelly O'Hara, one of my favorite players. Really happy to see her get back healthy and make massive contributions in the World Cup run. Defense wins championships.
Well, you know, it does. I mean, we do like the thing about Kelly is that the energy she brings when she's on the field, and you know, you see what she can put out there at any time. I mean, as a coach, can you see the difference, energy level, and do you have to figure out a way to harness it? So in a 90-minute plus game now, because with VAR and the replay, it's not 90 minutes anymore. It's like 97 minutes. Some of these games are crazy long. How do you sort of harness that so you don't sort of lose it right away?
Kelly O'Hara was injured, and I did get the chance to speak to her in LA. I think that was a big question mark on the team. Was Kelly O'Hara going to get healthy enough to make these contributions that she did to the team? I think the coaching staff managed her very well. The medical staff managed her very well. They did what they needed to do to make sure that she was able to perform at her peak level for the World Cup. And she was outstanding. You can go back and see a lot of the scoring plays, and she was involved in a lot of those.
And as you can see, or if you can see, he's kind of hidden behind a few people there on that float. There's Governor Andrew Cuomo on this float, making its way up the Canyon of Heroes, also waving to the crowds. And look at them taking their selfies on the float and probably taking selfies of the crowds that are behind them. I know you guys have been to these different ticker tape parades. I was at the Yankee parade and the Giants parade, and the electricity that is happening right there to see all the fans, and it's amazing to see how the players react to all the fans, and it's just an exciting, fun time for everybody there.
Tobin Heath is on that float. Crystal Dunn, Michelle French, the backup goalkeeper.
When you think about Tobin Heath, I mean, is she the steadiest player on this team?
That is a great question. I would say that every single player on this World Cup team, they were outstanding. They were at their peak performance. Every player and the entire team.
And they call her the Nutmeg Queen. It says that it's when someone kicks the ball through the defensive player's legs, Tobin Heath.
Tobin Heath is very comfortable with the ball. She takes players on. It must be very frightening for a defender to face her when she's coming at them.
And you know, before we move on to some of the other locals, but you know, Tobin's from Basking Ridge, New Jersey. As you go out and recruit at NYU, and obviously you come across both men and women's soccer players, what does that say about whether it's Jersey, Long Island, that we have such very good players to pick from that eventually went to the national team?
I was thinking about that on the drive-in this morning, and there are stories going around about Alex Morgan and Rose Lavelle being 9 and 10 years old when the 99ers won it in the Rose Bowl in front of 100,000. And they tell stories about how they were inspired by players like Mia Hamm and Julie Foudy. And those players from 99 inspired the Alex Morgan, the Rose Lavelle that we have today. And now we have 9 and 10-year-old girls who are watching Rose Lavelle and Alex Morgan, who are being inspired. And it will mean more girls will play soccer. It will mean more girls will think about having a path to be a professional soccer player. And I think that that will serve us very well moving forward.
And one of the other players from area, Allie Long from Northport on the island. When you think about Allie Long and being on this team, sort of one of the last players to get picked to put on this team, and some people thought maybe she shouldn't be there. What do you think it's like for her, because she was there and she's now a World Cup champion?
For Allie Long, it is redemption. It is proving people wrong. It is staying true to yourself. It is working hard to get that last spot. Crystal Dunn told the story about how she was not picked for the 2015 team. She was the last player left off the roster. That is very heartbreaking.
It is.
When you think about these players and what they go through. And a lot of players can just throw in the towel and say, that's it, I'm not doing it anymore. And so I think it's a great lesson for younger players.
And think about it. If my math is correct, Crystal was 22 and Allie was 27.
Correct.
To be 27 and then you have to come back at 31.
It's harder.
That says a lot about her stick-to-itiveness and what she wanted to prove to herself and to her fans and to the soccer community around the world, doesn't it?
It says a lot about her mentality, absolutely. And that is the mentality that makes up this women's national team.
You know, and now this team, so they've got their championship, they're doing all their celebrating now, but they say now, going from playing soccer, now they have other things on their agenda, you know, and you've been seeing people holding signs along the parade route about equal pay. So that's their push now. And do you think now, I mean, winning it last time, they're becoming more known. What do you think, first of all, about the gap in pay between the men and the women? And do you think now that maybe, you know, this team is so great and everybody's talking so much about them that the momentum will pick up and this could actually affect change?
I think we're already seeing that it's going to affect change. I understand that there was a bill introduced by one of the senators that would withhold funding for the World Cup for 2026 until the pay gender or the gap in pay is rectified. So we're already seeing change with that. I think there are very valid points. I think it's a great topic of conversation. I think it moves past just the women's soccer and into the workplace because it's well known that women are paid less than men are for the same job. So I think it's a great conversation to have.
And we'll come back to that in a second, but we do have a tweet from Governor Cuomo, and it says, World Champs, congrats to the incredible women of the U.S. Women's National Team in their 4th World Cup. And while everyone celebrates today, ask yourself why in 2019 are they still not being paid equally, and then demand we do something about it. So the governor at the forefront of the movement, and it makes a lot of sense, and it should happen.
It makes a lot of sense. It should happen. It's very complicated. There are many entities involved when it comes to equal pay. You have the United States Soccer Federation,
Right.
which funds the women's national team. There's negotiations that happen with the Players Association, both on the men's side and the women's side, but there's also FIFA. And I think that FIFA is the world governing body, and I think that they can absolutely do a better job with women's soccer. There is $2.6 billion sitting in the bank account of FIFA.
Wow.
And the prize money for this Women's World Cup was $30 million.
Wow. And you know what's interesting? I read, according to the Nielsen ratings and other streaming services, here in the U.S., Sunday's match ranked as one of the highest rated soccer telecasts in history, and it drew bigger ratings than the 2018 Men's World Cup final. So take that.
Exactly. And hopefully that is something that FIFA is looking at closely.
Yeah.
So let's just get some numbers out there. According to the New York Times, the U.S. players will get about $250,000 in bonuses and for winning the winning the World Cup. And then there's also going to be, and I think on top of that, there's going to be a victory tour, which kicks in because they won.
That's correct.
I would be surprised if those games are not sold out. I think people want to see this team. Again, let's quickly go out to our Ray Ramundi. The parade is going right by him. Ray, what's it like?
Oh, I got to tell you, Christine and CJ, the excitement here has just boosted up within the last couple of minutes as we see the parades and the floats finally coming down through our area. We also see the ticker tape being dropped down from high above the Canyon of Heroes here. As you see, another float is coming in that has the U.S. Women's National Soccer Team. You could just hear how excited the crowd are. There have been people who have been waiting since Sunday to capture this very moment that's happening right now. You see the World Championship players also taking their own recordings as they ride here along the floats. This is such a euphoric moment, CJ and Christine, as America celebrates this historic soccer team. It's quite a sight here along the Canyon of Heroes as the bagpipers now are marching as well, and another float representing the United States national soccer team is right there behind them. Let's get an opportunity to speak with some people here. You saw the team. How excited were you?
I was really excited.
What does this mean to you?
Well, they're really amazing. I'm happy I get to see them.
Oh my gosh. And that's the sentiment and excitement for many of the people lining the streets here of the Canyon of Heroes as the celebration continues, as the ticker tape falls from the sky, and as now everyone who's here anticipates the key to the city ceremony, which is happening about half a mile from here at City Hall Park. There's going to be plenty more excitement beyond today, as many people are still awaiting to see the champions come down here through the Canyon of Heroes. But quite a sight and a spectacular scene here along Broadway. CJ and Christine, we'll send it back to you.
Hey, Ray, so I'm looking at all those people behind you. It looks like everybody's wearing red, white, and blue. I saw some people wearing their own little soccer jerseys. It looks like there's no room for anybody else to fit there. When did they start coming and filling in behind those barricades?
Well, you know, when we had first arrived here, Christine, around 4 o'clock this morning, we didn't see a lot of people, believe it or not. We saw a scattered few, some who were sleeping here on the floor, anticipating arriving early here because of the number of people that they expected to line up here. But it wasn't until the 7:30, 8 o'clock hour when the streets here along Broadway, particularly between Liberty Street and Cortlandt Street, that the sidewalks really started packing up. It was amazing how many people arrived here within a 3-hour span right before this parade route started. So I don't think there's any more floats coming down this area as they're all heading up to City Hall Park, but pretty much a nice couple of minutes of excitement, American pride, a lot of chants for equal pay, as you and CJ have mentioned as well. And everyone's just excited to be here and to celebrate America and this wonderful World Cup championship. CJ and Christine.
All right, thanks so much, Ray. As they get much closer to City Hall, where they will go through the ceremony, the key to the city. But not to belabor the point, just so you know, France's men's soccer team split $38 million. This American team may be better than France if you prorate it. I'm serious about that. This team, I can't tell you how good this team is. $4 million. That's a problem.
Wow.
Don't you think, Kim?
I would like to see FIFA do better, much better. I think that they can. I think they've underestimated women's soccer, and I think that they're under massive amounts of pressure now to make changes.
I think I read they were going to double it for the next World Cup.
They could triple it. They could
They
quadruple it. What's
least.
100 million when you have 2.6 billion in the bank account?
A lot of bean counters at FIFA.
Wow.
Look how long it took them to get the VAR, the video replay, back on. And look at American soccer. You watched the guys the other night. They want to play the young guys, but then they don't. So it's like, what are you going to do? I mean, soccer, I'm telling you, soccer and the soccer officials, some of them are just set back in the Stone Ages. That's my 2 minutes. Okay? I know I'm being told to move on, but
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the actual ticker tape that's flying through the sky before there. When Ray was talking before, you could see on the other side of the screen how cool it looked, all of that coming down. And, you know, a little history on it. Obviously, I don't know if people know that ticker tape is what they use to transmit stock information. Back in the day, it's no longer used, so now it's replaced with shredded recycled paper. And the paper that you're seeing today falling from the sky actually came from Kansas Recycling in Red Hook, New York. That's up in Dutchess County, and they said they fed 1,500-pound rolls of damaged printing paper into industrial shredders, then shipped it to the city where the Downtown Alliance distributed it to the buildings up and down the Canyon of Heroes. And when I was down there for the Yankees parade, yeah, you could see it. I was in one of those buildings before, you know, and just seeing them get ready for it. And look at them, they're in costumes too. And seeing everybody get ready for it and to throw all of that out, it's just such a festive atmosphere. And I thought that was really cool about the ticker tape. Now we want to check back in with Justin Walters. He's over at City Hall. And have they reached you yet over there, Justin?
No, not yet. At least part of the float actually has passed by our section of City Hall. And you should see a lot of the fans that are actually in the stands. They've gotten up from their seat and watched the big Jumbotron to see all of the ticker tape flying through the air. You would think that some of these people looking at the ticker tape aren't actually in the stands. They're so excited. It's like they're back home and they forgot that, hey, I actually have the best seat. And remember, there's only going to be about 2,000 free tickets that were given out to fans, and that was for a select amount of individuals. So for the people that are actually inside here at City Hall, they're part of an exclusive group. Those tickets became available at 2 p.m. on Monday and sold out within minutes. We're about 30 minutes away approximately from them arriving and with Bill de Blasio to get the key to the city and be honored in the ceremony. There's nothing but ticker tape flying through the air. Fans are trying to grab it, and it's like a little mini celebration right here, a pre-party for the actual party that takes place at 10:30. The DJ's blasting the music, people are dancing and having a good time, and I'm cool, at least for now. But back to you, Christine and CJ.
All right, thanks so much, Justin. We'll check back with you in a little bit. It's very interesting. Christine had interesting stuff about the ticker tape. I actually was there when ticker tape first started. You know,
I'm sure you were.
Going back to my Stone Age question. But that transitions me, and I don't want to date you at all, Kim, here, but take me back to 1985 and the first U.S. national team game. And what was it like for you then? And now you go forward here and go, wow, look where we've come, and what's it like to be a pioneer for this?
I'm incredibly proud to be a very, very small part of the women's national team history. There is no comparison to what happened in 1985, our first game, compared to what these women are experiencing today. But we had to start somewhere.
Right. Where was it, and what was that like?
The tournament took place in Blasio, Italy, and it was a 4-team tournament. It was the United States, Denmark, England, and Italy as the host. And we were the opening match against the Italians. It was in a very small, quaint stadium, grass field, about 2,000 seats, really beautiful day, magnificent crowd, great energy, and that was the opening match.
Wow. Blasio just a little bit north and east of Venice.
Correct.
So at least you went to Venice
we
as
did
well,
a day
right?
trip to Venice.
Very nice.
Yes, we did.
And
on our $5 per day diem, I think it was back then.
Hey, $5 in 1985, you get a couple of newspapers and like 2 subway tokens.
I was a college kid. It was a fortune to me.
Yeah, now you can barely get a cup of coffee with that.
Probably not at Starbucks.
We're taking a live look now at City Hall. You can see everything set up there. That's where Justin has been reporting from. We're waiting the team to arrive there with the mayor, and they're saying there's about 1,000 people at City Hall Park for that part of this celebration. And they're going to be given the keys to the city, and each gold-plated key is about 5 inches long, and it bears resemblance of the large skeleton key that currently opens the back door of City Hall. Now, obviously, these keys don't actually open any doors to City Hall, but they're symbolic. And I guess the New York Mets has the most recipients of the keys to the city. There's a little tidbit.
You know, I read that, and I'm sitting there going, the Yankees won the World Series 27 times or something, right? I don't understand the math on that one.
I don't get why that is.
I think maybe they needed more than one. You know, we did show you the tweet from Governor Cuomo before, but an hour ago, former President Barack Obama tweeting out, proud to rep America's best team. See, we're on the same wavelength, the president and I. Congrats, U.S. Women's National Team, and thank you for being such a strong inspiration for women and girls and everybody all across the country. And I think what's very important to that, it's not just the women and girls. I think it's for everybody. I thought this team played well. Yeah, they had their moments. I mean, when you're in a tournament that's based on score differential, you have to score goals. And in that first game, they ran it up, but they're following the rules. If you're following the rules, I don't have a problem with it.
There was no disgrace in that. There was absolute respect in playing the game. This is the World Cup. You don't hold your team back.
What about all the little controversies that came about with after, they scored a goal and it looked like one of the players was sipping tea? What do you think about that?
I think that a celebration is a celebration. I don't know if we should really read too much into it.
It's just celebration. It's no disrespect. It's just having fun, and this is...
These players have been playing soccer from a very young age. They put in a lot of hours into their talent. They get to the world stage. They're playing to represent themselves, their family, their country. They score a goal. They are entitled to be happy and to celebrate.
Right. It's not like basketball where you score 100 points. I mean, in a tight game, it's 1 goal, maybe 2. And as you can see, Megan Rapinoe and...
They're trying to get the crowd going. Look at
That's
that.
Allie Long.
Allie Long?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's listen in.
The window. Got enough for them. Throw my shot.
Okay.
Looks like they might be singing something, or they're chanting something right there on there, but they are having a good time.
Oh, she's got the mic.
Oh, she's getting microphones now. She's talking to people. This is great.
We should give her a microphone.
Yeah. Yeah, CJ and Christine, could you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can, Ray.
Hey, yeah, I just want to describe to you what's going on right now. I've never felt any excitement like I felt in this very moment here. This float carrying the stars of the team and the mayor of New York City has been mobbed and surrounded by media from all across the world, along with the thousands of screaming fans lining the Canyon of Heroes as well. You could tell not only are the team members here on this float holding the championship trophy, but you could tell they are just basking in this very moment. to see their excitement is fueling the excitement of all the fans that have been waiting here for hours just to see this very moment. So you see them holding up champagne, posing for pictures. It's quite a chaotic moment, but a proud moment for America happening right now, Christine and CJ.
Oh, Ray, thanks for describing that. Where are you in that sea of people? Are you as close to the float, or are you a little bit back?
I am close to the float. Thankfully, our chief videographer, Aaron Cipollina, has what they call a monopod that allows him to go up and above all these other cameramen and media here from around the country to capture this very moment happening right here.
All right, so that's Megan Rapinoe and
Ali
Long.
Long. That's actually also the president of U.S. Soccer. Carlos.
Yes.
And the president of
Hey
US
guys,
Soccer
how
is
excited are you?
Right there.
Oh, I can see Ray's arm there trying to get us to talk.
I tried to get a question from them. I couldn't get a question in, but you could just hear the excitement happening over here. You know, believe it or not, CJ and Christine, there's actually more floats happening here, coming up the Canyon of Heroes as well as they head north to City Hall Park as well. So, but that float and all that moments, those moments, I should say, that we saw right here just a short time ago was the anticipation that everyone was waiting for here for hours. So, but there's a proud representation, CJ and Christine, of the FDNY, the NYPD, and all the city agencies responsible for putting on such a parade. You could imagine the coordination, the amount of money as well to put on such an event here across the Canyon of Heroes. And just a short while from now, when all the floats pass through here, they call them New York's Strongest. Those are the members of the New York City Department of Sanitation will have a heavy-duty task of cleaning up all of this debris left here along the parade route. From 2015 parade, the Department of Sanitation of New York City said they collected 30 tons of garbage and debris. So as you see more floats come on here and the music, quite exciting here, CJ and Christine. Back to you.
So Ray, yeah, you mentioned the police, and we saw them as the float stopped there, and you know, all the women were surrounded by the media, and the police just kind of stood guard around that float. Talk about the security in the crowds. I'm sure there are many that are undercover as well.
That's absolutely right, Christine. There are NYPD officers from dozens upon dozens of units of the department, the counterterrorism unit, plainclothes and undercover police officers that have lined these streets since midnight. There are at least about a dozen police officers on every corner and walking up and down the parade as well. And in addition to the officers that are right here on scene along the parade route, there are thousands of cameras surrounding this area as well. There's a command center back at 1PP, One Police Plaza, which is about half a mile away from here, also watching cameras as well. Safety was the first priority when it came to putting on such an event like we see here along the Canyon of Heroes, Christine.
All right, thanks so much, Ray. We'll keep you there on the side, but that's the float I really like. You have young soccer players. Kim, when you see that, I mean, that's got to make you feel good inside.
Like I said before, this team, the team from 2015, have inspired many, many young girls to start playing soccer, to start to think about playing soccer, and young boys as well. The other thing I like seeing is the sponsor, Volkswagen. Sponsorship is important for the support of the women's national team and for the support of U.S. Soccer. The other person I saw on the float was a guy by the name of Joe Elsmore, was standing there with Carlos. Joe was a very early employee in Nike when Nike decided to move over to soccer and get involved in soccer. And he was a very early supporter of the women's national team. In fact, signed Mia Hamm way before Mia Hamm was Mia Hamm.
Wow.
And Nike has been a very, very important supporter for U.S. soccer, for the U.S. women's national team. I think that these sponsors deserve credit.
And you mentioned the president of the U.S. Soccer Federation, Carlos Cordeiro. On that, I wonder what he's thinking when he hears equal pay.
I wonder, he's got his hands full with these women. He's got his hands full.
They should write the check should be the next one.
Those will be the next signs they carry.
You know, I just want our viewers to know who we're sitting next to. A member of the Long Island Soccer Hall of Fame, a member of the UCF Hall of Central Florida Hall of Fame, but also you were a recipient of the Special Recognition Award by the National Soccer Hall of Fame, honoring your contribution to winning way of the women's national team. I mean, when you think about these honors, when you started playing soccer years ago, did you ever think this is where it would lead you?
Never in a million years. We knew we had this thing called the women's national team. We weren't really sure what it was. I was going on an international trip, my first out of this country. I was having a chance to play some more soccer. That was fine with me. I was getting $5 a day, $10 a day. Never could I have imagined in 1985 that it would lead to this. And I also wanted to mention the Special Recognition Award that was given to me by the National Soccer Hall of Fame. That was during Mia Hamm and Julie Foudy's induction ceremony into the Hall of Fame. And they made it a special point to include the very first team that won our first game, which was in 1986 against Canada. And it was very important to them that their recognition include the history of the team. And so that's the culture of this team. It's pay it forward, pass it on, do better for the next generation. And it's ingrained in Megan Rapinoe, Carly Lloyd, go down the list. It's just been passed along. You have to do better for the next generation. We have to do what we can.
At what age did you start playing?
Well, I didn't start playing soccer until I was in high school.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And it was really sort of by accident.
Tremendous athlete.
I was a great athlete. I played every sport that I could get my hands on.
Yeah.
I was playing sports in high school, and they started a women's soccer team. I really think because of Title IX, they needed to add more sports, girls sports to my high school. And so the soccer coach went around trying to round up players for the new girls soccer team. And after one of our basketball games, I was asked, hey, do you want to come out and try to play soccer? I'm like, sure, why not? Sure, why not?
And you go to your
I'll give
hands.
it a try.
Go to your hands and play the goalie.
Well, I didn't really know much about soccer. And I remember putting on my white softball cleats. This is back in 1980 when it wasn't really cool to wear white cleats. And I remember walking out to the soccer field and standing there, and I was looking up and down the field. And I said to the coach, you want me to run up and down this field?
It's exhausting.
Oh yes, that's what you gotta do, you gotta run. I said, if it's okay with you, I'll play as the goalkeeper.
It's amazing, though, that you started so late when you think about today. And my kids, I have boys that are playing soccer, and they're in second grade, and their friends are already on travel teams. And you have to be on the travel teams if you want to, make the team in high school and do anything. So how it's changed?
Respectfully, I would say that is not true.
Yeah.
I think we're going a little bit too fast, too much, too soon.
Yeah.
I think that kids need to play other sports and have other experiences. I think for their health and well-being. Yeah. There's a rumor going around that Alex Morgan didn't start playing soccer on a travel team until she was 14. One of the most recognized players in the world now. I think there will be plenty of stories of latecomers to the game.
I always said if you're good enough, they'll find you.
Yeah.
And speaking of good enough, he is great. Let's go out to Justin. Justin, what do you have for us over at City Hall?
I come bearing gifts. I know that you and Christine were talking about ticker tape and describing it to the fans, so I figured I'd grab a few pieces for you. It's about 8 by 11 size paper. All of them have different script on them. One even here has civil rules, but we're about 15 minutes away from the world champs arriving to us, and nothing but these are flying through the air. A few of them have hit me during my live hit, but once I come back to the studio, I'll make sure you and Christine, as well as all the crew staff, get some few ticker tapes, because it's not like New York has a lot of these. Last time was 4 years ago, of course, courtesy of the U.S. women's soccer team, but I come bearing gifts, so I will not be empty-handed the next time I see you and Christine.
So Justin, talk about around you. Now I know City Hall Park, is it jammed? Are there a lot of people there? I mean, how many people are actually going to be sitting there behind you in front of City Hall?
It's going to be a little north of 3,500 people. A lot of people actually aren't sitting down because they're like spectators. A lot of people watching TV, they just want to see the floats that are going by right now. To the far right of me, we have a lot of trees blocking that off. So about 3,500, and remember, less than 2,000 of that were given free tickets. That was through the general public, and those were made available but gone within less than 10 minutes. And then more 1,000 were given through family to the players, in addition to a couple of board members and council members in this city. So we're going to have a large crowd here, but as I mentioned, there's not that too many people sitting down behind me. A lot of them are watching the big boards. We have one here to the far left and another one here to my left. You can zoom in on that, Rick, just to give them a better perception of one of the big screen monitors. And as you can see, a lot of people watching it as they're waiting for the World Cup champs to arrive here at City Hall. It's expected to get here at about 10:30, so that's about less than 15 minutes away from now. But we know most likely they will be running late. They're enjoying themselves, taking selfies as you've seen, the ticker tape flying through the air, and everyone enjoying themselves. We have a nice little party going down here as the DJ's blasting music. He was just playing Pharrell, and you know Pharrell always gets people up and going.
You know, in '96 when the Yankees won the World Series, I don't ever remember the video boards. I have to say, I like the advancement in technology. You were just sitting there at City Hall waiting for people to come. Like, guys, are they actually coming up the route?
Right,
but,
right.
You know, really exciting was Rose Lavelle, the woman who scored the game-sealing goal against the Netherlands to win the World Cup. Now, once upon a time, this little girl dressed up as her hero, Mia Hamm, for a book-sharing project. Today, this amazing woman won her own gold medal wearing the number 16 as part of the women's national team that won their 4th championship, and she also won the bronze ball as the 3rd best player in the tournament. Little girls everywhere are going to look up to Rose and her hard work. What do you think about Rose?
I was very impressed with Rose Lavelle. Super impressed. It bodes well for the future of this team.
What made her so tough on defenders?
She is lightning fast. She is very quick. I would say, based on what I saw, she is the fastest player in the tournament. And she's very fast and quick with the ball at her feet.
That does spell trouble for defenders.
I was thinking about this, the goal that she scored against the Netherlands. She was running at the defender, the center back, and I was thinking that center back should first of all step up to her, try to slow her run down. Second of all, that defender should get her off her left foot, force her to her right foot, because her left foot is lethal. And that was a world-class finish. It was very nice.
Well, I have to say, I mean, when you're a defender and you see someone with speed and space coming at you, you second guess yourself. You don't really know what to do, and then you end up on your heels, and next thing you know, you lose the World Cup.
Well, it was definitely the nail in the coffin. The goalkeeper for the Netherlands also played extremely well, kept them in the game the first half, making some exceptional saves.
You know, you made a point earlier about the connection with Mia Hamm and you, but what about the connection between Rose and Mia Hamm in that the picture that we saw?
The 99ers inspired this generation. This generation is inspiring the next. We will be here, hopefully, 10 years from now. We'll be here 10 from and we'll be talking about the kid who scored the game-winning goal, and Rose Lavelle was her idol when she was 9 or 10.
Or these little girls that are lining the parade route today, and you're seeing their pictures, and the ones that are on the floats that we're looking at right now. How exciting for them, right?
Super exciting. I have 2 girls. Okay. I have an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old, Alex and Danielle. And they look up to these players. Alex and Danielle, they've both had a chance to meet several of them. They're really world-class people, great people. They understand their responsibility, and that is just it's more than just soccer.
So are your girls playing soccer?
My oldest plays. She's a big fan. Danielle played for a little bit. Her preference is gymnastics. Okay. She's a very good gymnast, and she really loves it. and we just love to support them in whatever sport that they're doing.
I'm laughing looking at this video now. You can see the brooms. the next crew to come in, right? Ray talked about the sanitation workers that are about to come in. They said 130 hand brooms. They'll have 350 sanitation workers, 130 backpack blowers, 35 mechanical brooms, 15 rear loader trucks, 15 cans on wheels, 4 front end loader vehicles and other vehicles just to clean it up. It's going to take several hours to clean up. Like what could be, there was 30 tons of garbage, they say, from the last ticker tape parade. So,
You know, I've been in and out of City Hall many times. And when you walk up to the front, you don't realize how big it is. And then Justin said 2,000 people?
so yeah, I think he said 3,000.
Oh, 3,000. That's what it was, 3,500.
Yeah.
And you take a look at that shot. And all those people, they'll be filling into those seats, but they're probably outside waiting to see, because generally the floats will go past City Hall, they park in the back, and then they come through City Hall, and then that's how they get back to the front, the players and the sort of politicians. But it's interesting to see how that fills up quickly. You know, one of the things we've been talking about issues, and it's funny, in the men's game, or any game with men, you don't really think about these issues, equal pay or what, or even diversity. How do we make soccer more diverse over the years? And so there's, you know, there's always that, oh, do you have to pay a lot to get your kids into a certain team to get to that next level?
Like we were talking about the travel teams.
Right,
Like
and I know you said it really isn't like that, or it doesn't have to be like that, but what has to be done to harness better players or harness the athletes from different cultures and different areas so they have a chance as well?
Again, it starts from the top. It starts from FIFA. They have the resources. They have the power to dictate to federations how money is spent or how money is invested or how money is distributed. I know that there is an emphasis and a focus from the United States Soccer Federation on just that. How do we get more kids playing? How do we keep more kids playing? How do we make sure that there is not a financial barrier to playing soccer in this country? Because the more kids that play, the more chances that we have to develop the best talent.
Oh, that's right.
And by the way, I just wanted to say kudos and a shout out to the City of New York for putting on this parade.
Yeah.
It's costly, it takes a lot of resources, but they stepped up to do it.
Yeah, and we're looking at was probably the back end of the parade now, so it is making its way to City Hall. What did they say? 0.8 miles, right,
Yeah.
from start to finish. But as we saw before, they do stop the floats. The players are speaking with the people who are at the parade. They're speaking with the media along the route, so it takes a little bit longer than they first planned.
You know, if you ever have a chance to walk on the sidewalks of the Canyon of Heroes, they have the metal plates.
Yeah.
And the plates correspond to every different, there's 200, this is 207 ticker tape parades. And it's interesting because you're walking, you look down and go, oh, look at that. And, you know, Ray's along the parade route. Ray, it looks like it's breaking up behind you now.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, CJ. I got to tell you, people are finally filing out of here. We're actually now standing on a sidewalk. As you can see, all the ticker tape is littered here along the street. Some people are actually kicking it like they're playing soccer. It's very, 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 very interesting. You know, just about 15 minutes ago, you couldn't even stand in this spot because there was so much people standing here cheering on the U.S. women's soccer team. As you could see, look at all this ticker tape. CJ and Christine, it's littered everywhere. As you both mentioned, the Department of Sanitation has a big job ahead of them, as it will take several hours, approximately 7 to 8 hours, to clean up all this ticker tape here from the sidewalk. But things are back to normal after this big celebration. You could see many of the sanitation workers are wearing the lime green suits. They have their brooms out, sweeping everything. Also, too, there is the excitement after this parade happened. Let's see what these girls are saying. Hey ladies, we're live on the air here. How are you? I see you draped in your American flags. So what did you think about what happened here?
It was really cool. Alex Morgan, they stopped right here in front of us. It was really awesome. They were singing like we got the best fans in the world. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Unreal.
What was this experience for you?
Amazing. It was something that I've never experienced before. So just seeing the excitement of all the fans was really cool to be a part of.
All right, where are you guys from?
We're from New Jersey, the two of us, but they're from California, so all over.
How does it feel? Because some of the team players are from New Jersey. Is there a sense of Jersey pride and American pride?
Definitely, especially being a soccer player too, so just people to look up to is awesome.
All right. Thank you, Look, there goes Lloyd Jersey right now. Ladies, thank you so much. As I know you were looking at your pictures, very excited. And CJ and Christine, that's the sentiment amongst most people who are here viewing the spectacular moment that happened in the Canyon of Heroes right here behind me. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Hey Ray, I'm curious about the weather. Brian was talking earlier about the heat and being prepared for the heat, and not having all these people lining the streets there for this long, and some were out so early. How does it feel right now?
My phone hung up.
All right, well, we lost.
Okay, I guess we lost him.
The magic of live television.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, we lost him. We'll get him back. Don't worry. We have the technology.
Oh.
And take a look. Let's listen into the band. And we're sitting with Kim Wyant, the NYU soccer coach, also an original member of 1985, playing in the first game for the women's national team, being in goal, winning, defeating Canada in 1986 for the first ever win. But the one thing she pointed out, she says she thinks this group, or part of this group, was in France for the World Cup, playing the drums.
I think so. I think I might have saw them at the game against the...
Hey, that's good. They can travel, and they're excellent, and they can keep the beat. And, we've been seeing all this thing about ticker tape and stuff, and I think my memoirs were crushed up in there, and they're sort of on Broadway. But, Christine, what about the cleanup?
Yeah, we were talking about how, the city does this and how nice of them to open up the city and do these parades, but it's expensive. And the de Blasio administration actually estimated that the 2015 parade honoring the World Cup winners cost the city nearly $1.5 million, with another $450,000 coming from private sponsors. So thanks to the private sponsors that help put on these great celebrations. But it is exciting, and we're looking at these people. Look at that crowd. They all must have rushed right in. The parade is over. They heard the band. They got their seats, and it is filled there now watching this.
I like that. It's almost mesmerizing what they're doing. And as we wait for the ceremony to begin, and it's always a fun ceremony to be at, whoever the mayor is, whoever the governor is, they'll probably have a few words, and then I'm sure we'll hear from Megan Rapinoe. I have a feeling we'll probably hear from Alex Morgan. A couple of the co-captains played integral roles in the winning of the World Cup. Kim, if you had a chance to address the crowd, what would you say?
I would say, well done. Well done, everyone. Thanks for coming out to support us. Well done.
It's really a a nice relationship that they have with the fans, and that they're so welcoming, this team, as opposed to they don't put anybody off.
They have grown into this tournament. They have grown into this moment.
I like that.
Now, what about these exhibition games? They're going to have, 4 exhibition games now after all of this celebration is done? Talk about those games.
I understand it's either going to be 4 or 5. I don't know the exact number. It's part of their contract since they won the World Cup. I believe it was just announced that the first game would be in California at the Rose Bowl.
And is that more of a celebration, or will they be stressed out and wanting to win? I mean, I guess you always want to win, but it's for the fun, for the fans.
There is no doubt the team will want to win.
Yeah.
But it is a celebration. I'm sure that the coaching staff will try to get all the players on, rotate all the players on, give them an opportunity to say thank you to the fans and to experience that. But what's significant about the Rose Bowl is it is 20 years since the 99ers won in the Rose Bowl. Brenda Chastain.
Wow.
And I believe it's the date almost correlates to the winning of that 99 World Cup. So it's very significant.
Wow, that really works. Whether they play, hopefully they'll play a game in New York.
I hope so.
It'd be nice to see, and we have some nice soccer venues.
Yes, but again, we can also ask the fans to support their local teams in the WSL.
All right, Kim, right now joining us on the phone is Yael Averbuch. She's a defender on Reign FC. That's the Seattle-based team in the National Women's Soccer League. She was also a member of the women's national team from 2007 to 2013. And Yael, welcome. And we now have back-to-back championships for the United States. Can you put that into context for us? And we'll get to Yale in just a second, but I can just imagine, being part of the fabric of women's soccer or any sort of team, and your team wins back to back, and and you have this amazing celebration, and it brings to mind as a fan of some teams that just don't win, that either I got to change my allegiance. Of course, I rooted for the U.S. women's team. I was very happy they won, but I would love to see other teams pick it up as well. But this team just keeps winning, doesn't it?
This team keeps winning. There continues to be a gap among us and international teams. I really thought that it would be a little bit closer this year, and I was surprised. I was surprised at how easily we beat France.
But the England game was pretty close.
The England game was a nail-biter,
right? I mean, that was very close. I have a friend. He's from England. His name is Ben, and he's still talking about it.
I have many friends from England.
His English accent. I won't do it, but he was saying that he thought, without a doubt, it was onside.
It was by a toe. I didn't get a chance to see the VAR on screen because I was in the stands. We were all sitting there waiting for this call, and it was quite a relief when it came back as offsides, but I was told it was very close, very close. But VAR is also 93% accurate.
But other than that game, it seemed like this was the team nobody could beat. I mean, they're really amazing. And when you think about, soccer seemed to be more popular overseas always than it is here in America. And here we have this group of women who are just unbeatable.
And I hope it continues, although I do think that countries like Spain and England are taking the women's game more seriously. There's more investment. There are more of the bigger clubs that are now starting women's teams. I think that will make a difference for us.
All right, so we're going to try and bring in Yael Averbuch. Yael, can you hear me? It's CJ Papa. Yael, I can't hear Yael, but if she can hear me, can you put...
Oh, hello?
Hey, Yael, hey, it's CJ and Christine. Can you put back-to-back championships in context for us?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think for anybody who's familiar with soccer, the World Cup is the ultimate. It's what every young soccer player dreams of participating in, and winning a World Cup is like the dream of all dreams for soccer players. So to do that once in your career, for a team, a country to achieve that once is obviously phenomenal. But to do it twice and back to back, I mean, that is it's the ultimate in the game, and I think it's probably beyond what these players even dreamed of as young players. So I think it's truly something to win a World Cup, but to do it 2 times and 2 times back to back is it's true dominance in the game, and I think that's what our U.S. team has shown.
Hey, Yael, have you spoken to your teammate Ali Long?
I've texted with the players throughout the tournament, and then obviously congratulated them after. Haven't spoken to them in person. I'm sure they're extremely overwhelmed with emotion and with all the celebration. So I'll catch up with Ali and the rest of them more, after kind of all this dies down to them, letting them enjoy the moment.
We're watching the parade here live, and we're seeing all these young girls lining the parade route. What do you think this win and this team does for women's girls soccer here in the U.S.?
Hey, I was one of those girls in 1999. I think a lot of us talk about the 99 generation, and I think we're seeing the same thing, and it's even amplified now, especially with social media and with the increasing coverage of the women's game with the NWSL and our league here. This is a visible, tangible dream for these young players now, and it's not just young girls we see young boys, and we see older people too being inspired by this. I, as a player myself, at the end of my playing career, I'm inspired by this. So I think it's truly it's the ability for us all to watch something that we would love to be ourselves and something to get behind. And I think for those young players, they're seeing their dreams, and now, it's up to them to go out and to make that reality and see the opportunity that could be there for them to be the stars and be raising the World Cup and be famous. That's fueling our next generation and our ability as a country to continue to win World Cups in the future.
As a professional soccer player, to the layman here who may not notice something on the field that you see and go, wow, look what they're doing. Is there something consistently that the U.S. team did right all the time in any of these games that you were like, wow, I'm impressed that they're doing this and they're repeating it to be so successful?
Yeah, I think it's hard as a fan to truly understand the level of intensity that goes into every single thing the team does. Whether it's in training to prepare, watching video, meetings, the amount that's going into their recovery and physical preparation, and then on the field, even through the warm-ups, the walkout. These players are 100 tuned in, focused mentally, and exerting themselves on every play, all out. So what may look like on TV, a simple run, a pass, all of these things are being done at top speed under the most pressure that you can imagine. So, for the young players watching out there aspiring to play at that level, everything that looks simple are all the things that, all players learn, passing, trapping, shooting, but they're being done at maximum speed under maximum pressure and just with an intensity level that most of us can barely imagine. So I think that's really, what I feel from the game when I watch, because I understand the level at which those players play and execute what they're doing. So anything you see that looks impressive, and even the things that look pretty basic, are just being done at such a top speed and intensity level.
And Yael, I see you were born in New Jersey, in Montclair, New Jersey. What do you think needs to be done to? I'm sure this is bringing the interest level up in soccer and women's soccer and girls soccer. What more needs to be done to get more girls involved in this sport?
Yeah, I think what we all should realize is that while the World Cup is such a great marketing platform for the women's game, is this is just something that happens once every 4 years. But there is high-quality women's soccer going on week in and week out in our country with the NWSL, like I said. So I think players and fans should realize that these players they watch on TV and many others who are of similar caliber and are also very exciting to watch are playing every week in the U.S. and maybe even close to you in your city. Being from New Jersey, we have Sky Blue FC local. There are 9 teams around the country who are competing at a level very close to this all the time. So I think for players to understand that this is not just a one-time awesome event in a cool dream that happens once every 4 years. This is something that these players are working on every day throughout the year, and they're accessible and able to be watched often. And I think that's the really cool thing about women's soccer, is that these are celebrities, they're idols, they're stars, but they're also very accessible. And, you know, if you go to watch a game, they'll sign an autograph. They're right there in front of you. And not only them, but like I said, other really world-class caliber players right in your own backyard quite often.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please take your seats.
And Yael, what do you think of the parade so far?
Oh, I mean, I think it's, you know, this is what it's all about. You know, I think that you do what you got to do on the field, and then for the players to be able to come home and not only see the support, which I'm sure they saw and felt while they were in France, but to feel the backing of our country. I think it's just, you know, the fact that people are lining the streets. I couldn't make it there myself, even though I'm pretty close, but I think all the hype surrounding it and the energy is so well deserved and is fitting for the level of accomplishment for the celebration of those champions.
All right, Yael Averbuch, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we are going to take you live again. You're going to watch what's happening over in City Hall. We just saw some members of the team celebrating up top there, and it might be starting. It sounds like, oh, let's check in with Justin and see. He can tell us what's happening there. Justin, what's happening right now there?
Christine, the victory tour has reached its conclusion, and now the ceremony is about to begin. They've asked everyone in attendance to take their seats. The drums and the band was playing for about 30 minutes, and they had everyone grooving, and now the ceremony will begin. If you can actually see behind me, Rick is going to be zooming in. There actually are a few players actually on stage behind some of the flags, and as you see, the USA signs draped up on the stage at City Hall. So a lot of people are finally going to be sitting down. As we mentioned, the number in here of attendance is going to be a little bit north of 3,500. 2,000 of those people are fans. Those tickets were made available on Monday at 2 p.m. and sold out in less than 10 minutes. The rest of the tickets were given to city council members and other individuals in the city, as well as family members of the players. But the ceremony is going to finally begin, and actually the ticker tape has finally stopped coming down. There still is a little bit flying through the air. I showed you earlier in the show what ticker tape does look like, but finally you have the parade that has reached its conclusion, and the ceremony is going to begin. It was supposed to start at 10:30. We're a little bit past that, to no surprise. It's a very joyous moment, and trust me, no one is going to be mad if they're running a little bit behind schedule. Remember, they're not going to be here for too long. This ceremony is going to last till about noon, and then the players will head on a flight straight to Los Angeles to the ESPYs to be honored this evening as well. So it's a busy, jam-packed schedule. They're running on little sleep. They've been on a media tour, victory tour, and it's going to come to a conclusion, at least for the short portion of today, as Mayor Bill de Blasio is going to give them a key to the city for the second time in 4 years. Back-to-back World Cup champions. This is an amazing moment, and we haven't had one in 4 years, and ironically, it happened on this very same date 4 years ago. July 10th, it seems like there's always going to be a World Cup championship parade happening, and who knows, maybe 4 years from now, there could be 3 straight. Christine and CJ, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Justin. Much more to do right here at Fios One, extended morning edition. We'll have much more from the parade when we come back. The ceremony should be just about to start.
World Cup champions. That's right, you guys. Let's do it. Welcome to New York City and welcome to City Hall. This is how we're doing it. We just host ticker tape parade. So we hoping everybody's having fun. Make sure you stay hydrated.